Mark Szymanski back, as always, on his solopreneur journey. Welcome.
Matt Medeiros, thank you for having me, as always.
We're actually prepared for this episode, sort of, kind of.
Yes, actually, yeah, we did a little bit of prep work. It's pretty exciting.
Last we left you on this series of content, you were steeped in finding somebody to delegate stuff to. How's it going for you?
I should have done this sooner. That's one of my points. Yeah, this is fantastic. I'm loving it. And I have a lot more to do. I have a lot more to delegate.
What did you delegate that you were like, oh God, this was good?
Video editing so far. It's really awesome. Found a great, through the grapevine of WordPress, found a great creative. I mean, if we want to start here, like great, ambitious young people are like the people that you want to target. The ones that are really excited, kind of like how I was and slightly still am. But like, they're just
I mean, Jesus, man. 2 years, you're already retired? Like, I don't even understand.
I'm getting old. I'm almost, but like, I mean, when I first left my job, I was like, I want to learn everything. I want to like do all this stuff. And that is, his name is Nathaniel. He was actually just in town yesterday. We have been working on a couple of different things back and forth. I did my studio revamp video. He edited that one. And you know, again, it could be him, but it could be anybody. Like if you're delegating something, it's like you want to find somebody that has enough expertise to kind of do what you want to do, but also if they can like learn alongside you, you know, and you know, kind of like cut their chops, so to speak, in whatever it is. I don't know. To me, it just seems like a great thing. Now, if you're more established and you're like a big business and you need to like bring on a CTO, maybe you don't hire like somebody out of college or some shit like that. Like I would understand that. But in our position here, like I feel like I'm just super grateful that, you know, that I was able to get connected with him, and it's been great so far. So video editing and also kind of like thumbnails, I feel like that's kind of, Nathaniel's kind of like helped me with kind of both of those. Cause again, he's in that realm. You got to be careful because you can't just like create like one person as like a pack mule to do all the stuff. I don't think that's like a good way to go about it. So then so again, I kind of think of my life in the two buckets, right? Like the content and, you know, maybe like a little bit of like hands-off consulting stuff. And then also the service-based thing over on, I'll give you a very specific instance. I have a new website that I need to build and I'm in the process of doing. And I loved every minute of it up until I have to actually start building the design part.
Yeah.
So I love
every part of selling it, making the money.
I love getting the money.
To do it.
I love getting the money. That is a funny joke, but it's a little bit deeper than that. Like I love the brainstorming. I love the business aspect. I love learning the business and then planning out the architecture of the website, from the custom post types, the relations, like everything, how the data is going to go. Related, Christian Kraler and I are rebuilding his website, and I'm in the exact same spot there. We did a bunch of episodes. We have everything laid out, but there's nothing on the actual website because now you have to actually design the UI and the UX. I am at the point in my life where I realize that there are some things that you're just not good at as an individual. Maybe somebody's good at everything, but I'm not a designer. I don't want to be a designer. I'm no good at it. So I'm not going to do that anymore, or I'm at least going to try my best to not ever have to do that again. So that's like the next thing. And we'll talk about the content and stuff like that. But I also been putting out daily content and I've been sprinkling that in there. And you would not believe when you ask the general public, like, hey, I need help with this. I need to contract a designer. Like you just get flooded with good people, like actual, like, you know, professionals. So that is something that I'm also navigating currently at the same time, because that is the next thing. If I could get people to help me build on the website, then I could sell more websites and I could have people help me with that piece that, at least that one piece so far that I really don't like doing and I'm not good at.
How much of a process did you have to build or maybe you're still building it with your video editor? Like, did you come up with the workflow and say, here's the workflow that I need you to execute on? Like, how did you process that?
I think you have a guest, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
I think, like from the process side, I mean, I don't know. It's not hard to build a process.
And let me just preface that by saying, like, well, I heard you just say it's not hard, but I do find it hard to find to go for, you know, a couple years, like whatever, like the WP Minute. Here's how I do my editing. Here's how I do my recording. Here's how I do the writing. Here's the workflow that I follow. And then to either train that workflow onto someone, or they come in and they go, yeah, like I can't really do it that way.
Yeah. So it's a mixed bag, right? It's like, okay, here's the thing. I am not a video editor by profession. I am a content creator that decided to figure out how to do video editing. So if you were talking to somebody that's a professional video editor, you know, if you're going to hire them, maybe you could fit them into some of your processes, but like realistically, it's double-edged sword. Like you want to manage, like it's your business, right? So you want to somehow manage it a little bit. Here's what I've done. I used to use, I'll be very specific. I use DaVinci Resolve to, you know, like edit the videos and everything like that. I would just literally film it, goes right on the computer. I throw it in DaVinci Resolve. I do it real quick. I would save the final file. I delete everything else. I upload to YouTube. That's pretty much it. Obviously, with somebody else in the mix, you have to be a little bit more specific about the process. So now I'm filming these videos. We're uploading them to a shared drive on Google Drive. Nathaniel is pulling them down onto his computer. He's editing. He doesn't edit in DaVinci Resolve. He actually edits in Final Cut. So that was one specific thing that's kind of an issue. I don't have a Mac. We worked through a couple of those, but you know, this is probably an easier process to build. But yeah, I mean, I've already, but more so from a collaboration standpoint, like we are talking through Slack. Our comms are through Slack. Our files are stored on Google Drive, and then our project management is in Notion. So it's like, I am built for this. I've just never done this. This is so easy to me. Like this is, I can't stress. I'm not saying it's easy in the sense of like managing people is never going to be hard. I know I don't have enough experience to say that, but I'm saying like I'm a natural communicator and like kind of like project manager, people manager. I think, you know, I just don't have enough, I guess, true experience in that regard, but I know that that's kind of, you know, it's been very telling very quickly. So I want to keep doing it.
I've known for a while, but the WP Minute is just something that has been much more of like, personal is not the right word, but a lot of it is reflected on like my efforts to either put content out or like have my opinion and stuff like that. And Eric's been writing for me for years now at this point. So it's not like I'm unfamiliar with his work or that the audience is unfamiliar with his work. But I am moving into that phase where like what happens to the WP Minute when I am not, you know, the primary content producer. And you know, again, Toby and Kurt been running their show. Eric's been running his show. I'm starting now with some more writers and some more social people. Now it's like a test of what happens to the brand, what happens to the audience and the content and stuff like that.
So what do you mean by that though? You're saying like the direction of the brand.
So I was talking to somebody the other day, last week. He was somebody that's been in the WordPress space for a while. And he's just like, what? He's like, so I was just telling him about like some of the stuff that I've been working on. And he was just like, I don't understand. Like, why do you need a team for the stuff that you do at the WP Minute? And I was just like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know. How do you not know like what it takes to like do this stuff like at scale? You know, so
Should they have though? Like, I mean, we don't need to go into it, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, some people might actually not realize, because I think a lot of people think this is really easy.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably what it is. They probably think it's really easy, or at the very least, like, this is something that I've always put out publicly before, is like, how can you make, if I'm not doing like the typical affiliate, you know, the age old, which is probably hit rock bottom from some of the feedback that I've heard from people, from, you know, your typical like, let's make content, let's rank for SEO, and let's do affiliate links. And like, I would imagine that is a lot of that stuff is dead, if not has been dead for a few years, because I don't do that kind of content. And it's very much whatever, like interview style like this. I like to say like wholly original content and stuff that I'm like either writing about for the community and opinion and all this stuff. Like when you start getting into that kind of content, this very niche content, 10,000 maximum people worldwide who actually want to tune into this stuff, like to actually turn that into a business and a business that can scale. Just like you said, I've sold a web project. Now, how do I get somebody else to do it and execute on it? Like that's what I'm doing now with content. What happens when I remove myself from this business and have other people step in to create content that I'm actually paying for, by the way. This isn't this isn't like, hey, come on, help me do this free content stuff, right? Like when I look at this seriously and say, how do I turn this into a business, like that is the biggest challenge. And I don't even know if I can do it. It's just, starting to, experiment with it. At the very least, like having new writers come in and write things that are directed by me. And then maybe I turn that into like video or podcast content. For instance, the topic of like helping WordPress thrive. Like this is the thing that we talked about a couple episodes ago or something like that, where I want to talk about like the reasons why WordPress is still a solid platform that people should choose, right? Just like, where is that positive affirmation for WordPress so that we all don't just drown? How do you remove yourself from this business and still continue to get traffic, still continue to get audience feedback and all that stuff? So yeah, that's the operating on a content business is basically what I'm doing right now. Whereas you might be switching to like operating on an agency.
I've obviously had less experience, but I'm dabbling in it. And I mean, like my point in that, to kind of like, volley it back, is that, I have this written down here on this point, is like, even with an editor, like, so even though I've delegated that part of it out, reasonably, right? Like I can, it's a decent process. It's working to some degree, right? I still don't feel motivated to force sponsored content. Like brand integrations and things like that are one, but I've been posting daily content, which is another one of my points. I've been posting daily shorts, and that's been great for several reasons. But like the one yesterday was two paths in YouTube. The one is kind of like you go brand deals, and the other one is you go like audience first. And I guess there's pros and cons to each, but the brand deal way, where it's like you're relying on that, is just not resonating with me enough to keep me sane. The biggest problem right now, and I think we talked about it last time, or we talked about it in voice memo, is the last thing the missing piece there is you do need some level of an offer and like a monetizable CTA. And ultimately right now that's kind of like consulting, like product consulting, which I've done for a lot of products, and it's been great. Or it's visibility, which I don't really want to do that too much with the content. Or mainly it is the service-based stuff. It's websites, COO style stuff, automation, those types of things.
Yeah, one of the things I have written down, which you kind of touched upon, is like the reason why I'm doing this is because I love all of my fellow, WordPress content creators. Maybe not all of them, most of them.
Jeez, shots fired. Name names.
Part of my effort here is to provide more value to sponsors. Because if you think you're just going to like do a WordPress newsletter and like throw links in, throw content in, and like sustain that with sponsors year after year, I mean, unless you're charging dirt cheap sponsorship placement and maybe it's a fun little thing for you to do and it's just like nice on the side. Like I can't say this enough. Like this is an exercise in seeing if this thing could sustain itself as its own business. Then you have to constantly be, pushing for more, pushing the content and the offering into more valuable ways for your sponsors. What can I do with my time more effectively for the business and for the sponsors, right? So like one of the new sponsorship plans that I rolled out, which sits in between the minimum sponsorship package Foundation Plus and the highest, which is Pillar, is a new plan called Cornerstone. And that's where I am consulting with these brands, right? I'll just call it that. Helping them, consulting with these brands. So not only do you get the placement, but you get me and the team in a particular set of time. Because I don't know any other way to survive a content business, like a niche content business, that isn't getting 1 million clicks per month. I don't know how to make that survive other than adding more human into the business, right? And that's human on the sponsorship side, like, hey, sponsors, let's work together. Let's like be real partners, and like, what can I do with our brain trust that we have at the WP Minute? And then being more human with the audience, which I haven't fully fleshed out yet, but I mean, I have the membership, so it's kind of like I engage with the members and stuff like that, and we have, we can do live streams and workshops and things like that. And I think that's like the next frontier is like you become this middleman to your sponsors and your audience, and how do you get them all in the room together? Because every sponsor, the good news is, the good and the bad news is everybody's traffic's down. I mean, unless I guess you're doing like viral TikTok jumps off the Empire State Building or whatever, and like you're, or you're doing like the power slap contest, like this kind of ridiculous content that is booming, but everybody's content is, or traffic is down, and everyone's looking for new ways. And I don't have a new way other than just like more humans in the mix. What's your take on the short form? So far, are you happy with the short form stuff that you're doing? Like either like fulfillment wise and analytics wise?
Fulfillment wise, it's an 11 out of 10. I mean, I'm basically every day. Sometimes I batch it, but not really, because like now I have the idea of like a daily recap plus a thought of the day. So pretty much every day it ends up being too late at night. I film these things and like I edit them with Opus Clip, your favorite tool, and then I post them to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, maybe one more, X, and then what it's done is it's increased it's like training every single day, which I need to start working out every day. But it's like training. Like before I was doing this, I was like I love being in front of the camera and talking, as you know. And that is something that makes me more fulfilled and just is a net positive. But when I don't do that for a few days, it's like progressively worse. It's like I feel progressively worse, and I don't remember that I just need to do that more, and I will feel better, and it'll be better for me. So doing it every night has been extremely great for that, because I've even posted more long form and like tried to do more of that, and I've just fulfillment, happiness, whatever, it's way better. I'm also seeing that like just posting more often is obviously increasing visibility. You get a lot more comments, you get a lot more DMs, you get a lot more people interested, because the simple fact of they see your face more often. It's like stupid simple. It's like if you pop up more just based on volume and it's half decent, obviously I've upped the quality a little bit, still need more ways to go, but like it's a net positive, really. Like if you enjoy doing it, which I do, and I'm doing more so for myself too, rather than just like a money play or anything like that. It's just trying to build awareness and just continue to do that. Um, and again, like it's the consistency and the building the parasocial relationships of like, oh, what is Mark doing today? Like what did he do today? And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's kind of shitty, but it's like there is magic there.
Yeah, I've never really done the shorts until Toby and Kurt started doing the podcast, which is, I mean, the highlight there is because it's like there was no time to even do that stuff and to even like use something like Opus, which I am using right now, and because that time was just already so limited, so it was just like, here's just enough time to like get these episodes out and publish or whatever, and then not really having time to do the shorts and things like that. But yeah, so like from a logistics perspective, like I'm able to do things like that now, and been doing it for the last couple of months since they started, and yeah, views are up naturally because I had never done it before, so like that helps. But like there's still the debate on whether or not shorts are actually valuable. I mean, they're valuable for you. I think they're valuable for like what you're doing, but I would never I'm not saying that you are, but I know that it's a debate. Like some people will just do shorts and like build a business on that or build a brand on that, and I just like still can't mentally wrap my head around it, because like some of these shorts get thousands of views that that I post of some of the topics that they do on the WP Minute, but it's not translating to tons of new subscribers. It's just translating to like a ton more views, right, than an average like podcast episode. So
Well,
if a podcast episode does well on YouTube, on the YouTube channel, it's 100 listens, right? If a short does really well, it's thousands of views. But I don't know, like I look at that and I'm just like, well, I would rather have folks listening to the long form podcast than the short form podcast, because the short form isn't translating to, more subscribers.
I mean, again, I hear what you're saying. I think there's a couple thoughts. The first one is I think most people just are short. There's like, especially younger people, like they are short focused. Like I try to think of my behavior. I think of like other people that I know's behavior. A video has to be, I'm not saying long form is dead, because I love long form. I thought I couldn't do short form, but the problem is I couldn't do short form because I talk too much. But when I have what I don't script it, but when I know what I need to say and I know the time limit, I just talk, and then I cut out the shit. Like I cut out the dead space, or I cut out like whatever. And it's been working pretty well, especially with like an Opus Clip tool. I mean, for you though, what you're saying is you take long form content and you're clipping it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
See, like
but
that's
specifically on shorts, I'm not making, because I know the other strategy is to actually make air
the
quotes
Joe
long
Rogan.
form clips.
Yeah, the Joe Rogan, like 3-hour down to like 15-minute clips and whatever. But
right,
like that's I was thinking about that the other day. I was thinking about like, is that strategy even like still really good for like, would I recommend that somebody to start that? And I don't really know if I would. The short strategy is just so much more prevalent now, because and you could put it on all the different platforms and see like where your audience might actually be and like what upticks and everything. I don't know. I mean, like the problem with the short stuff is like, I don't know what counts as a view. I think YouTube just did it recently where it's like only a second or something counts as a view, or like all these, different things. So they're not like beautiful numbers. It's not like everyone is watching the whole entire thing. But I guess it's with videos too. Um, I don't know if you have like an answer to this question, but like who, and you don't need to say specifically, but like who are you like modeling like the content business off of, and like what is like the revenue bucket breakdown? Like you don't do affiliate too much, right? So that's not a thing. So like like platform advertisement, whether it's YouTube or whether it's, I don't know if any of these 2.0 podcasting platforms will let you do that. I guess direct user support, there's a little bit of that, right? And like community support, and then the other one is all just sponsorships. Am I missing stuff? Like,
yes, right now it's sponsorship and sponsorship, like the membership stuff, but the membership stuff is fairly small. Although, we did get a few new members last couple of weeks. A few new people have joined, which is nice. But primarily, yeah, sponsorship, and we will do some content if people want it. So, like, if you want whatever the featured video on YouTube, and you want a one-off, YouTube video, but I mean, we've already talked about this at length already. Like, I'm in the same boat as you. Is like I don't want to do just sponsored videos anymore. I will happily do it. If you want a video of me like doing an overview of your product, I will do that.
on your channel though?
On my channel. But I think everyone can agree, like, don't expect insane results, from a product overview, unless you simply want somebody, like, the value is you have a different perspective. You have somebody like me coming in and doing an overview of your video, of your product, whatever, and it's on video, and you can link to it. You can write a blog post about it. Totally cool. If that's what you're after. But if you're like, hey, I hope this like video you make goes viral, it ain't going to happen. Unless I just get the best SEO title for you. Your product still has to be good. So yeah, this is a long way of getting to the biggest revenue generator for me at this point is sponsors.
Gotcha. I mean, is that an issue? You think that's an issue? You think you just need to continue with that, or you think there's
Yeah, no,
other
I mean
avenues?
it's just expanding on it. Getting more sponsors, number one, but then also providing more value so that we can do other things. And there's a few other things that I don't want to talk about publicly just yet, but we will expand like the different revenue channels, and like the different things that sponsors can sponsor, right? So like right now it's like Pressable owns the slots for the podcast ad read and the newsletter, the featured newsletter sponsor at the top of the newsletter. And then from there, it's all the other two levels of sponsorship: Pillar and Foundation Plus, and with the new Cornerstone coming online, there's not any new placement. It's just like now you'll get like consultation from us, with that plan. So anyway, let's talk about the AI stuff before we run out of time, because we're already up against the clock. We were sort of challenging each other over the weekend about vibe coding, AI, software development. Do I want to run my own app? You had a chance to play with Replit for a little bit. You played with it for 5 minutes and you were like, this is not for me.
It was
And
6
I was
minutes.
I was like, how could you only give it 5-6 minutes? All right, so let me just take a step back. Here is my stance as of July 14th on AI. I don't think so. If all AI development would stop today, let's say just like we hit peak capacity, right? Like this is it. This is what we got for AI. Then I still think that it wouldn't fade away. Like if this is the max that we got, like I don't think it would just go away. I think it would kind of be, I guess if I could say like optimized, and like, hey, moving forward, like we'd all be using AI for like 10-20% of its capacity. And like this is still an aid where we're at today. However, it's going to continue to improve, and that productivity, will increase. So from a productivity standpoint, I'm like, yeah, man, this AI stuff is really good. I can achieve things that I haven't achieved before. Do I see the singularity that everyone's talking about, or like AI doing absolutely everything for us? That is still pretty distant to me. And I'm looking at it more like the iPhone scenario, where for many years to come, it's just going to kind of be iteratively better over time, not shockingly better over time. And the reason is largely due to business, corporations themselves. They're all going to try to figure out how they can jockey each other, like they're doing right now. Like I almost said Mullenweg. What's his face? Zuckerberg is scooping up all this talent, buying all this talent from OpenAI and like all these places, and it's just going to be this constant like shuffling of like who's gonna have something better, and they're all going to try to monetize it. Grok 4 now is the best model suddenly, and it's like next week then OpenAI will come out with version 6, and everyone's going to be like, oh my god, this one's so much better. It's just going to be this constant like movement, and until that can be like that's just going to be this constant like iteration of these businesses that are just fighting for pole position, and they're all just going to slowly leak out their better versions so that they don't launch like the best version only to be leapfrogged again. So it's just like I think they are slowing the pace of what this stuff can do. So that's like where my cautiously optimistic side comes in. But I am trying to learn it and adapt to it in the event something amazing comes from it.
Okay.
That's my long-winded way of like where I stand with this stuff.
What happened with our conversation? I was like, there was three options. I wanted to, my simple first thing was like, I wanted to post on all my platforms like at once. And I used to have Hootsuite a long time ago. Then I had Buffer, and that's fine. But like, you're paying for a subscription, which I don't really care as much as other people about. But also, I thought like, I would be going back and paying for Buffer, which is like whatever, or I have this N8N subscription that keeps recurring that I don't do shit with. So I was like, maybe I should go over to N8N and build my own thing, and it would be like I could make a video about it, I could like learn, I could also save money, or just like do something, right? That would be beneficial. And then I quickly realized after I was in there, it's like, yeah, these APIs are kind of hard to work with, especially the social ones. I don't know if they want you posting. I tried the LinkedIn one before. I've tried the Facebook one. Then you have this problem of like, I want to post to a Facebook profile because that's how my shit is set up, because that's how everyone in WordPress like set their stuff up, because everybody deals with profiles rather than pages, like all this other stuff. So there's just like limitations left and right. The X API, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it costs money or whatever, just all these things. And I was like, okay, well now at this point, this is why people use SaaS products, because it's just easier. But then now a new contender, third option comes in, and it's what you do, what you've been doing a lot, is vibe code and random shit. And it's like, this is a great option. But then I went into Replit, and this is where our conversations really started. And I spent 5 minutes in there, and I was like, okay, well, it built me a nice little dashboard really quickly, pretty sick. I got to the API portion. It didn't really understand what I was asking at, especially the specifics. It was trying to do like the page API for pages, like connect my page from Facebook, not my profile. I think there were some API limitations there, and it was just like my stance on it was, it's great, but it's not telling me what I can and can't do. It like didn't have that. I don't know if it doesn't have that in the LLM, in the model or whatever. It's just like, I wanted to do something, and instead of building the thing and pushing me towards that, I wish it would have just like been like, let's do some research and let's see and in that planning phase, like, what you're asking is actually not really possible, or it's like very difficult. I feel like that's more of a natural way that humans might have handled that. Obviously, you're still going to run into problems, but when it has all the data, you would think it has all the data. Maybe I should have planned a little bit more like you do in ChatGPT or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't, that was my first experience. I probably should do more, but that's where I kind of started. That's the first idea I had.
Are you apprehensive to build your own anything, like whether it's like a solution for a client or like your own like tool to do something, like the social media posting thing? Like, do you not want to do it because you don't trust the when it's complete?
Well, I'm genuinely underexperienced, obviously. So in vibe coding, right? And you're more of becoming the vibe coding podfather there. So it's like, if I don't know, I inherently, instinctually, like I feel like most people, when you hear AI coding a web app, I feel like most people are going to be like, ooh, like is that a good idea? Like, is that like for personal whatever, but for commercial, it's like, ooh, is that a good idea? Like, if you don't have that initial reaction, I feel like you're definitely not being intellectually honest. I'm not saying it's bad, but if you don't have that, then you're like, something's off there. I feel like, at least for a second. But then when you think about it, it's like, okay, well, it could be good, but I have never coded a web app. So I would be like extra skeptical, because what if like I get so far into this and then like I don't know, I kind of like mess it up somehow or whatever, especially if it's on the commercial side for a client. Like, I don't know. I made the argument of managing, and you're saying there's nothing to manage. So I don't know. Like, I mean, you have literal web apps running right now. Are you saying it's like it takes nothing to do anything to it? Like, it just works?
Like, nothing I'm doing right now, I would consider like needs to be constantly. I know anyone out there like listening about like security stuff, like obviously the security stuff is the biggest concern. It's less about like the code and the features, because I think, all right, so putting security aside, which is obviously huge, like I think that there's less worry about managing the app than most people realize. I mean, think about like a WordPress site. Like, again, security aside, like you could build a WordPress site. I mean, I know there's one that I still manage for somebody just as like a favor. And it's like, I don't even know how old it is, 10 years at this point. I don't even know if like the plugins have been updated. It's just like the site that, and I keep telling them like, listen, it's time. Like we got to do something because if something breaks, there's no way that I'm going to be able to fix this kind of thing. And I think you can be so hyper specific with, like, if you just looked at your N8N example, like I think you can be so hyper specific with like building an app in Replit, literally to do like 3 hyper specific things that you would never be able to do in N8N in like a really quick way, an efficient way, that I think you can get by with without that worry, that overhead. Again, security aside, but I think Replit and these platforms will solve for security in the future. And I mean, we're already starting to see some of that stuff come out with Replit, where it'll actively, check things for you. So yeah, I just think that it's not as a major concern when you know what you want to build.
I think part of the thing is like I'm not a developer by trade, so I see AI as much more of an assistant still right now. Like it can do some things obviously, but I see it as an assistant to the things that I want to do and more of like a clarity tool. So it's like if I was a developer, I could probably be like, "Hey, I could put in a bunch of context about like what I want it to do, which I would probably do anyway, but it'll do it for me." And so I feel a little some type of way I feel like when I would try to do that because now I'm like separating myself so heavily from I don't know what the hell this thing is actually doing, and if there was a problem, then that would be kind of difficult to solve and potentially problematic if it was especially in a commercial setting. Yeah, I mean, I'm using ChatGPT like just the typical app prompting version a lot, and I could see myself using it a lot in more like automation workflows of things that I would be doing. But actually building apps right now, I just
Even
can't.
I think even like your example, I think you did this a year ago or something like that. Like, didn't you build a client portal or something like that?
Yeah, I've built that was a big thing on my channel. Yeah,
Yeah,
both with WordPress. Yeah.
right, with WordPress. But I think now, like, I think one of the advantages, and maybe the systems aren't there yet, but like I think about, I mean, I think about the CRM stuff that I do now. Like, I just use Notion as my CRM, right, for customers, for sponsors, right. But then there's like all these things I have to do. You get a new sponsor. It's all these things you got to do that happen afterwards, and it's either like, okay, we got to sign the contract, we got to send the first invoice, we got to follow up with when that video needs to be scheduled. Like, I could just build out a portal that does that whole workflow for me and like organizes it for me. So like I know new customer comes in and then all of this stuff triggers, right? Same thing with you. Somebody gives you a payment, like all these things like trigger afterwards. And what I am bullish on is folks being able to solve those very unique business requirements in a organically English speaking workflow. I need to solve this, this, and this, instead of Notion going, you can do it with Notion, and then figure out the Notion way. And then,
I mean, yeah. I just think that kind of, even though it's with AI, it still puts you in like you're now literally becoming a developer. Like you are still now you have like you're solving one. This is like the common thing I feel like of like you're solving a problem. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is actually exactly how I feel about the client portal bullshit that I've done. Right? I love that people have really enjoyed that, but it's like if you're the type of person that is Googling how to create a client portal in WordPress, Like you need to redefine and recalibrate if you actually need to build that client portal in WordPress. Like there's probably already a SaaS that will get you like 90% of the way there, and you don't need to create your own thing in WordPress. You know what I mean? Like it's a great idea, it's really cool, but it's one of those conversations where like a good business person probably wouldn't be doing that. Like they probably would just buy the thing off the shelf and get the fuck back to selling. Like that's probably what they would
Yeah.
do. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's how the world's going to continue to go, because you do bring up a great point. There's certain businesses that have extremely specific requirements, and you will never get the 20% of features that they need built into Notion. Like Notion's just not going to do that because they're a business and they don't want to, they're not going to prioritize the 1% of people that need this random shit, So that makes total sense. But I think on the broader thing, and this, I'm going to tie this back in everything else we said about some of the other stuff that you're probably not going to like. I actually am becoming, I don't know if it's jaded. It's not a negative thing, honestly, anymore. It's just like I am honestly becoming much more we'll use the word jaded on like human and business thought in general. I have consumed so much shit, like from Alex Ramosi and XYZ, whoever. And I'm like, I am so tired of consuming all this shit. I promise there's a point here. I'm so tired of consuming all of this stuff because I just need to go do it now. Like there is no more. Another short the other day, thought of the day. I have learned everything I need to learn. I'm not saying that I know everything. I've learned everything I need to learn in order to go out and sell shit. The only other learning I need to do is purely from like experience. And maybe like, here and there from people like, if I have something specific. But watching more fucking videos is not what I need to do. It's not what 90% of people need to do. And unfortunately, there's just too much content out there so you could get lost. What I'm saying is, I genuinely believe, and I have to like really sit down and think about this and make some content. I genuinely believe that almost everything that could be said has been said, which is kind of fucked up to think about that. But if everything that could be said has been said, then that's probably like almost everything that could be built, like in this world we're talking about here. I'm not talking about going to fucking Mars. In this world, almost everything that can be built has been built. So if that's the case, then okay, maybe it's basically like your analogy of like the whole like Elementor thing or whatever. Like, okay, let's just ask the AI to take these 5 pieces. Like I looked at 5 SASs and none of them have exactly what I want. So just look at these SASs and just like pull them together in AI. Like that might make sense, sure. But then what does that ultimately mean moving forward? It's like, do we not have businesses anymore? Like, how do you even, I don't know. Who are we selling to now? It's not going to be everybody that's doing that. Obviously, that's silly to think. It's only going to be, we're still in a huge bubble. It's only going to be like maybe 20%. I feel like of people that actually take advantage of this shit.
Right.
But then that means though that like the B2B market is kind of fucked if everybody's building their own thing because they're all ambitious enough to do that. So then, okay, well, we all have to go B2C now, and it's like, well, what do we do there? I'm just I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but
Yeah. I mean, I think it could be, I think it could become just like learning WordPress, where people learned WordPress and went out and started agencies and built websites. And I hope WordPress survives in an AI world at a different, in some kind of like different vantage point. But yeah, I mean, I think people are going to come in who, just like they learn WordPress, they're just going to learn AI and pick their favorite platform to build stuff on, and then just lead with that. I don't think it's just gonna, at the end of the day, like I don't think it's erasing everything, but it is going to empower a lot of people to do a bunch of things that they weren't able to do before. I don't know. I'm trying to balance like what that new world looks like with where we're at today. Like a thing about like AI SEO is a huge thing, right? A lot of people like debating that, right? I built an app that allows me to like query against AI and then help me see where stuff ranks and then like build a strategy around that. But like part of me says to myself like, well, if I'm doing this, like me, Matt Medeiros, if Matt Medeiros is doing this now, then just like you said before, somebody else must have already thought about this and is already doing it. And certainly like the value here is, like the real value here is that these LLMs know like the source and and how it was cited and like how it could get rank into LLM. So I see a ton of these startups coming out now, like, oh, manage your SEO in AI, and like, here's how you can rank in AI. How do you even know?
Mm.
Like, how do you know that that is possible? Google did it and like created the biggest like MMORPG for the world to like go after. Like, here's how you can rank in Google. We'll kind of tell you the secret formula, but you go figure it out. And by the way, if you don't want to figure it out, just pay us ads. Like that was a whole thing. But with this AI stuff, it's so closed that I don't even understand how people are doing it.
The only other thing that I'd say is I think that we're kind of in a pretty, I don't want to say we're in a bad position, but I don't think we're in the optimal position. This is again a hypothesis, but like I think we're in one of the worst positions, at least me, I'll speak for myself, like mentally and algorithmic wise. What I mean is that I'm a business owner and I'm a technologist to a degree, right? I'm in this, right? The other people that I follow and the other people that I just like talk to, the people that I discover, whatever, they're also in that camp. And also the people that I sell to are like maybe a rung or two below that, but they're still aware of it. The people that are probably printing money potentially right now are the ones that are technologists selling to like complete common folk, because the common folk probably don't really understand. I'm again, I know that like ChatGPT had like 1 billion users or whatever in like 2 minutes, but like those people that aren't thinking about these things in terms of like what they can do, I would have to assume they're less likely to like notice an AI generated image or notice AI generated copy or video or etc. And if you can tune those things to actually sell, then you could probably be printing money right now. What I'm kind of saying is like maybe we should start B2C businesses. But I don't know. I mean, it's just that's where I'm at. I feel like it's not like you have to do that, but I feel like that's another observation that I'm assuming is partially like where we see like these big things of like, oh, all this AI stuff, like it's probably gonna really sell there potentially, or be easier to sell at that level because like people don't know, like they're not sniffing it out. It's like you scroll through a Facebook feed and you see like an obviously AI generated video and you have all like the grandmas in there like saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe he said that." It's like it's fake, dude. So I don't know.
I think that's good. MJS.bio. Any other websites you're launching?
Not currently. That's the only one. Go there. Follow my journey. Follow me so you can watch my
Oh, yeah,
shorts.
on your shorts. What's the YouTube channel again?
Just everywhere. I'm just Mark Smancy. Go to MJS.bio. All the links are there for all my different platforms. Take your pick. Pick of the litter. Content's everywhere. Do your thing.
All right, that's all we have for today. The WPminute.com/subscribe. Stay connected to the newsletter. And after this, the app I vibe coded.
Oh dear.
Peace.